If you're American and you want an EV with suicide doors, it's coming right up in the form of the Mazda MX-30. Power, range extenders. We'll cover it all and slap it on a spreadsheet against its biggest rivals. And we're not stopping there. I'm going to give you a second spreadsheet detailing how terrible 2020 was for the Japanese and Korean automakers. Grab your snacks and drinks. Intro. Welcome back, Lexurious Fleet. Smash the like button if you're excited for some Japanese EVs. It's a long time coming and we're still going to be waiting a while. Over to Motor One. Now, first thing they say, MX-30 is not coming to 2022, but MX-30, Mazda's first ever EV, is coming to the United States with a rotary engine. We've known about this. Mazda has never confirmed it before until recently in an interview with Jeff Guyton, who's Mazda's North American operations boss. He sat down with the Detroit Bureau and they talked about Mazda, and they mentioned that the Mazda MX-30 is coming with a rotary range extender. Now, the fully electric MX-30 is currently on sale, I believe in Japan, other parts of the world, definitely Europe. You can get the full electric version of it. The hybrid, the plug-in hybrid with the rotary range extender, is going to debut in Europe in 2022. Maybe we get it that early. Fingers crossed, but it could be 2023 before we see it here on American soil. Now, there's also another variant of this vehicle that came out first, and it's a mild hybrid with a Skyactiv engine inside of it, Skyactiv X engine, I believe. So that debuted first, but it was originally designed, to my knowledge, to be an electric vehicle with a range extender as an additional cost or additional feature of that vehicle. Now, they say Nikkei Asia claims Mazda's goal with the rotary engine or range extender will be to double the range of the MX-30, and then this is a perfect segue to go over to the spreadsheet detailing the MX-30 with the range extender, because that should be standard here in the United States with a tiny rotary engine. Now, that rotary engine is not going to apply power to the system. It's only going to be there for charging the battery. As we know, it only has 141 horsepower and front wheel drive, guys. If it comes to America, it needs to have all wheel drive, in my opinion. So this power could definitely change. Battery size is 35.5 kilowatt hours, which is really, really large compared to the competitors in America. But those are not electric vehicles first. They came as the sole purpose of being a plug-in hybrid, where the MX-30 is sold in markets as a fully electric vehicle. I'm estimating 110 miles, which is a lot on full electric range compared to its competitors. But again, remember, this is designed initially as a full electric vehicle. Now, when you combine the range extender, if we're to double that, which they're estimating, Nikkei Asia is estimating, it's still only 220 so miles of range before you have to stop and fill it up. Yikes, does that mean you would have to stop at a fast charger to charge the battery and stop at a gas station right next to it to fill up the range extender? Makes you wonder. Again, front wheel drive only, huge con for this vehicle. Cargo capacity is pretty small, especially when you compare it to its competitors. Pricing, $35K is estimated to be the starting price. Tax credit. It should have a tax credit for the state and the federal level, because this is the first ever Mazda, at least in the United States, that's hybridized and plug-in hybridized at that, so it gets the tax credit. So starting with the cons. Now, these things need to be addressed before this vehicle has a shot at selling here in the United States. It needs to have all-wheel drive. They should be able to just slot a small electric motor on that rear axle to power those rear wheels. That shouldn't be hard to do. Range. 220 miles when it's fully charged is not good enough. When you compare to the RAV4 Prime at 600, when that vehicle is fully charged, it's hard to pick this vehicle, especially when it doesn't cost that much. 35K to 40K, 5K difference for double the range, a lot faster acceleration, all-wheel drive. The MX-30 would have a really tough go if the specs are as the European specs are with the range extender. Now, we would have to have, in my opinion, we would need to have a minimum 300 miles with it being fully charged. We need to have all-wheel drive, minimum of 200 horsepower. And the numbers I'm seeing right now, we're not close enough. Now, there are some redeeming factors of this vehicle. It's very unique. It's very cool. It's very good looking, in my opinion. It has suicide doors. The interior will be very, very nice. The EV range is exceptional. Over 100 miles of EV range. So If the majority is a small commute for you or even a medium commute, that should all be able to be done on a full charge. And if you need to go a little bit longer, you have 220 miles at your disposal. So it could be a very good vehicle for select people out there. However, I feel like the RAV4 Prime and the Outlander PHEV, I haven't talked a whole lot about the Outlander right now, but both of those vehicles are going to provide more versatility, more cargo space, more bang for your buck, more power, all-wheel drive, etc., etc. So as of right now, the MX-30, with the stats we have, I don't think would be very successful here in the United States, even though it would be a cool niche product. And especially in 2022, when things are going to be even more competitive than with EVs and plug-in hybrids, Mazda's got a tough road ahead of them if they want to bring the MX-30 here stateside. I'll see you guys in the comments on the MX-30 and its potential future here in the United States. Would love to see it. I think more electric vehicles and just more variety is a good thing here in the United States, but I don't know how successful it would be based off the numbers we have, and we need to move forward. Only other thing we're going to cover today is sales. Over at Automotive News, we got all the sales in from 2020 and we knew it was going to be ugly. Best way to put it, it's pretty hideous compared to 2019. There are some brands out there that are kind of defying the current state of the world and the current state or the previous state of the world in 2020, but we're not going to go over all of them individually. We'll go over the ones that matter to us. Going back to the spreadsheet, we're going to cover all the Japanese and Korean models as well as the luxury divisions. And I also have Tesla and Volvo here because they were actually positive on the year. Tesla quite a bit, being up 20%. But Toyota, let's start with the largest manufacturer here in the for the United States. Out of the brands I cover, down about 12% on the year, which isn't too bad because the industry average was minus 14.5%. Thriving model Supra, although it doesn't sell a whole lot, it actually sold a lot more compared to last year. And the trucks, the Tacoma, the Tundra, the 4Runner, they're all slightly negative on the year, but like 3-4% is all. So they're doing really, really well with their pickup trucks, and it's a good thing because in the coming year, by the end of the year, we should have the new Tundra, and so sales for the Tundra will skyrocket, and eventually that'll affect the 4Runner and the Tacoma as they switch over to the new TNGA-F platform. Suffering model, Sienna. Well, the Sienna just got a redesign in 2020, so funny year. Vans are actually not doing that well as SUVs are more and more popular, sadly. I love minivans. They're the most practical vehicles out there, in my opinion, for families. They just have a horrible, horrible stigma in the United States. So Sienna's not doing well. Next year should do better as a full year on the new redesign. And the Prius is, hate to say it, it's not doing well. I have a Prius. My wife loves the Prius. I like the Prius. They're charming in their own ways. They're slow, but it's fun to maximize their mileage. But man, it's really suffering this year. Most people would like to have a fully electric version of it as well, but Toyota lip is zipped. Honda down below the industry average at 16.5%. Passport and Ridgeline are doing pretty good, especially the Passport Clarity and Insight. So the irony here is those are hybrids or electric vehicles or plug-in hybrids. They're doing really bad, but the hybrids for the Accord and the CR-V had record years. So their normal models with the electrification are doing well, but their eco-friendly only models are in the crapper. Nissan, minus 33.5%, guys. Nissan had probably the worst year out of every single automaker out there. They're suffering in a lot of ways. Kicks was the only vehicle in their portfolio that was in the black and the green, or positive. You know what I mean. The Kicks wasn't negative. Sentra, Maxima, so sedans not doing well, and the Frontier, which is surprising because Toyota's trucks were doing well. The Titan actually did okay, but the Frontier was down massively. And I think a part of it is it's been on the market for 16 years, and the new Frontier is coming out next year. So the people who are lining up for decades for a new Frontier are going to have one next year. So Frontier should have a massive year next year. I'm looking forward to it. Subaru, 12.5%. Forester doing well. Impreza and Legacy, the sedans, really suffering, especially the Impreza was down massively. Mazda, positive. The only Japanese automaker and Korean automaker for that matter to be positive on the year. The MX-5 is completely immune of the Rona. CX-9 had a positive year as well. And the CX-30 is doing really, really well. The Mazda CX-3 is dying. The Mazda CX-3 should be canceled here in the United States as the CX-30 has kind of taken over that area. Mitsubishi, rough year, a part of the Nissan Renault alliance, and they're the next casualty on this list, minus 28%. Let's round up. Outlander's doing well though. Outlander had a pretty good year, and the good news is that there's going to be a new Outlander coming this year, potentially on the new Nissan Rogue platform. We'll probably see that pretty soon here in 2021. Eclipse Cross is getting a refresh, but it was the worst performing model in the product stack for Mitsubishi. Hyundai down only 10%. Palisade and Kona are kicking butt, and the Elantra and the Accent, again, sedans just getting shanked in the year of 2020. Kia just came out with a new logo, by the way, which we've all knew what it was for several months now, but they officially unveiled it. Down only 5%. Look at Kia kicking butt. Telluride and Seltos, if you look at the Hyundai and Kias, both of the smaller crossovers here doing well, and their largest crossovers doing well for both brands. Optima did really, really poorly, but it was canceled partway through the year to be replaced by the K5. Sorento didn't do that well, but the Sorento is getting a redesign soon, and the Soul actually didn't do that well. You would think it would do pretty well in 2020, but even with a recent redesign on the Soul, it's not doing that well. Now let's go to the luxury division. I love talking about luxury cars, probably even more than the regular pedestrian, plebeian, poor people's car. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. There are plenty of millionaires and billionaires that drive Hondas and Toyotas, but I'm getting off track. Lexus down just 7.5%. UX was positive on the year. LC, not Land Cruiser, that stands for the LC 500. That was positive on the year as well. Now it only sold like 1,000 or so units, but it had a pretty good year for the LC. And the GX was positive, I think double digits this year. And the GX, although it's a dinosaur, it had some nice updates for 2020. The repackaged things, you can now get the Premium Plus package, which had the heated steering wheel without having to go to the luxury package to get the heated steering wheel. So nice additions for the 2020 and the 2020 model year on the GX, which was available. And it must not have been affected by production that poorly or that badly. So GX is kicking serious butt. The LS is just dying. I think it was down like 34% this year, and it was negative the year before. LS sales are in the complete crapper. In my opinion, like I said, I don't think they're ever going to get rid of the LS, but if they had a flagship crossover like the LF1 Limitless concept, it would do really, really well against the Audi Q8s, etc. out there. But the LS is just kind of left there to rot and die. LS, in my opinion, part of the reason why it's suffering so much, no V8, no tempting electrification. The LS should be the pinnacle of Lexus, and its hybrid system in it is a complete joke compared to, let's say, the RAV4 Prime and that vehicle's flexibility, sophistication, power. So the hybrid version of any Lexus, in my opinion, should be faster or really close to it than the gasoline-only powered versions, and that just doesn't happen in the LS or the LC. Moving on to Acura. Acura had a kind of a funny year, minus 13%, which is really close to the industry average. All their vehicles, I think, were negative, other than the RLX, but they had a closeout sale there because they canceled that car. The MDX kind of was doing okay, even though it was negative. ILX, same thing. I think they're around minus 10%, both of them on the year. NSX was down like 50%. So no vehicles other than the NSX were doing terribly. None of them were doing that hot. The TLX was down quite a bit on the year, even though it had a redesign. Can't wait to review that for you guys in the coming months. Infiniti, suffering. Just like parent company Nissan is down, let's just round up to 33% on the year. QX50 was positive. Every single other vehicle in their lineup was suffering pretty immensely. Q60 and QX60 were down massively. Now, we're not surprised on a coupe doing bad, but the QX60 is their best-selling vehicle traditionally, and that vehicle cannot get that redesign, the QX60 monograph, whatever that comes out to be. They need that vehicle out like 3 years ago, and it's just too old to compete, and it's just getting swallowed up by its competitors at this point in time. Genesis down 23% on the year. Wow, only 16,000 units sold. Lexus sold more UXs than Genesis sold total. But put things into perspective. GV80 should be a shining beacon going forward. Same thing with the GV70. They needed crossovers to give them some life, and we should see them doing really, really well in comparison to what they have been doing for 2021. All their sedans are suffering massively. The new G70 coming out, the G80 just came out. I still don't think those are going to give them a massive boost like those SUVs or those crossovers are going to be able to provide. And again, Genesis, it's going to be tough for them to thrive and to grow as long as they're tied to a Hyundai dealership. So guys, I'm going to leave it there. What do you think about the MX-30 coming to the United States? I'm excited for it, but they need to massively improve it in functionality, meaning give it all-wheel drive, give it more range, and it needs to be price competitive, I think. Other than that, it's a cool vehicle. And then sales guys, no big surprises here, really. But I'll see you in the comments. If you made it this far into the video and haven't smashed the like button, go ahead and do that. Subscribe for more videos like this for Japanese, Korean, and electric vehicle coverage. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Hey, thank you so much for 90,000 subscribers. That's amazing. We're over 90% of the way to 100,000. And then from there, you know, we'll just go to the moon, to 1 million eventually. But 100,000 is just on the horizon. Holy cow. Thank you guys so much for 90. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a wonderful day and peace out.